Go to the Tools panel in Illustrator and select the Rectangle tool, or any of the other shapes as well, and create a quick rectangle. Now I'm going to fill it. I'm going to fill it with a gradient. I'm going to go for this one, a freeform gradient, and you can find this panel in Window menu and Gradient. And you can see obviously it's got a grayscale one. I don't want that, so I'm going to use the colours to add some additional stops on this. I'm just going to go over, or points as it's called. Weirdly it's called stops in some places. Here it's points, so. And I'm just going to add a few colours. I want a variety of different colours. Now you could of course start with a completely different design, because the next stage is I'm going to go and use Phantasm. That's from Astute Graphics. Please check out their website. Got tons and tons of brilliant plugins on their website, freebies as well, and much, much more. So go to Effect menu and down to Phantasm. And I'm going to be using Halftone. I love Halftone. It's a great little tool, just tucked away. And, well, it's got great selection of features. And you can see it's also left over these dots, which is very odd. Now you could probably... I'm not certain why that is. However, not a big deal. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go for, I suppose because it's an effect, of course, it's still got those. I guess even better, because you can change it later. Hadn't thought about that. You can set the DPI. I'm going to go with grid. I'm going for regular. And I'm going to set it to about 7. You can see you can vary it. And that's why I went for the different colours. So you could see, now obviously lighter there, darker there, and so on. So you can get some variety in this design. And I'm going for monochrome. You can also do RGB if you want. But you can also create an undercoat. So let's go for obviously something other than white. I'm just going to go for red. Or maybe a different colour, up to you. Also what you can do is dot properties. And you can go down here and there's a whole range of different options. Personally, I'm not going to go with these ones. These are all the symbols that come with Illustrator. And great as they are, what I want is character. So I'm going to set character. And that really depends on the fonts you've got. So here I've got options. So click there and it says fonts. And of course, if you've got Creative Cloud, you've probably got Myriad. And you've got a variety of Myriad. I must admit, I've never realised all these ones. Myriad, variable, concept, semi-bold, condensed, italic. All probably very useful. But you can go through and try any of these out. I'm just going to go with that one as a default, just as good as any. And pick random characters. And you can see what happens. It generates all these characters. You can also set up a text. So you can repeat text if you want to do that. I'm just going to go with the default. And you can see the design now. It's created lots and lots of, well, just random letters. But you can change it. You can go down here and you can say, you know what, I don't want the angle to be obviously upright. I want it at 45. You can have it at any angle, of course. And you can set the angle like that. You might turn around and say, well, actually, I don't want it that small. So I want it to say 2, so you can see it a bit better. And probably for purposes of this tutorial, it's probably better to show it. Also, what you can also do, if you can turn around and say, you know what, I don't want the scale there. At the moment, they're linked. So I'm just going to break that link. And you can turn around and say, you know what, I want the X to be smaller so you can make it thinner. I don't want that, but I just want to show you, you can if you want to. Or maybe make it bigger. So 140 for one. So you can sort of extend it out for the X. And obviously at the angle, it's obviously if you turn it around the other way, you could see it a bit better. So you've got that, you've also got blend, you've got transparency. Now it's not the full range of blend features, but it's got that. And you can modify this, you can change it, and that just creates, obviously makes it bigger, and you've got a variety of different other controls as well. But you can see now the text there. But also you might think, you know what, I don't want black, I want white or a different colour. I'm just going to go with white, but you could, so click white and you can see then you've got white text there. And you can run through all these and there's lots of other options you could do, play around with. And, oh, clip to object. So you can see it doesn't go beyond. That's probably a good one as well. Once you're happy with it, and you can again, if you think, you know what, maybe the dot, I could go for 1 instead. 1.5, whatever. Something like that. Just get a value like that and then click OK. So what happens? Well, if you go over here to the layers panel, the layers panel is a great way of seeing all the various things in it. And all we can see at the moment is some rectangles and rectangle, which is not much use. And also, you notice you've also, and I didn't, like I say, didn't realise this, you've got the underlying gradient because it is a live effect. So you've got the appearance panel, you can actually go there and you can see, you can change it, which is actually quite nice. And that's something I didn't realise I could do. It's one of those things that suddenly you think, I wonder what those are. And that's what it is. Obviously, if you use the freeform, it means you can change it. So you can go there and you can say, you know what, let's have a go for a different colour. And as you change it, make it obviously darker, it makes it bigger. If you want to make it lighter, just make it, and then you can make it smaller. Which I think that's quite a neat little feature, just having a nice live effect like that. Anyway, by the by, what you can also do, you can always go to Object and you can expand it. Because as I say, if you go to Window and Appearance, and again, this is another key panel, all very, very useful, Appearance panel, you can see you got this. And it says here it's got Phantasm Halftone. So it's a live effect, which you can, of course, you can deselect. Don't have to have it there. But you can expand it. That's what you need to do, expand appearance. So Object menu, expand appearance. And now, what you've got this design. Now, if you go over here to the layers, you can expand this out and you can see you've got the groups and you've got all the compound paths. So it's quite a complicated sort of setup. But you can, of course, go to Object and you can ungroup it as well. So decide, you know what, Object ungroup. Maybe Object ungroup. Sometimes you have to do it a couple of times. You can see then, look in here, you can suddenly see you've got access to these characters. And of course, you can also just double click. You can go into isolation mode and you can modify them individually. So just click there. So you can turn around and say, you know what, I want that C to be changed. Maybe turn around and say, I want it to be black. Maybe go for this one. I don't know, RR. You could just double click on that and maybe change that character. And again, you could just go down there and just turn around and say, well, I want that to be black as well, and so on. And of course, you can come out of that. Of course, you just come up right all the way through and you've got your design there. And you could, of course, create other letters and change them, maybe change the size. You don't have to go with what, obviously, the size you've got originally there. Now, you can also, of course, go over here and you can maybe, you know, decide to change the colour as well. Maybe go to Edit and go down to Edit Colours, Recolor Artwork, something like that. Just change it and tweak it so you can see, you can run through, change the colour there. And then once you've done that, close that, escape, and you've got your design. And that's just lots of obviously letters, but you could use any other font as well. That's another option as well. Just a whole range of things. I've used Myriad Pro, but you could have used other fonts. Hope you found this of interest. Thank you much.